Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. Now, a lot of developments are happening as far as the government is concerned on what action it would take on Pahalgam terror attack. Now, the Union government has revamped the National Security Advisory Board just days after the tragic terror attack in Pahalgam, in which 26 people, mostly innocent tourists, were killed by Pakistan based terrorists. Now, former RAW chief Alok Joshi has been appointed as the chairman of the newly constituted 7-member board. And apart from him, the restructured NSAB includes former officials from the armed forces, police, and the diplomatic services. Among the retired military officers are former Western Air Commander Air Marshal P.M. Sinha, former Southern Army Commander Lieutenant General A.K. Singh, and Rear Admiral Monty Khanna from the Indian Police Services. Rajiv Ranjan Verma and Manmohan Singh have been inducted. Now, the board also includes B. Venkatesh Verma, who's a seasoned diplomat and retired Indian Foreign Service officer. Now, as we speak, there was a cabinet committee on security which took place, and there's a cabinet committee on political affairs and economic affairs. And on the other hand, there have been claims by the information and broadcasting minister of Pakistan saying that they have credible intelligence to show that India might strike them militarily in the next 24 to 36 hours. So, amidst all this, what is the government really planning as far as the military strike is concerned? Joining me now is retired Lieutenant General Dipender Singh Hooda. So thank you so much for joining. And my first question to you, sir, is that do you think that the government is really thinking of a tangible military strike at the moment? Would it be right to preempt this with the kind of developments taking place thick and fast?
Look, we've already seen some initial steps by the government in terms of, holding the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, cancellation of visas, closing border, etc. The fact that the Prime Minister held a meeting with the service chiefs and told them that, they can go ahead and make some plans. And they are free to sort of choose the time, the manner in which military force, if required, can be applied. Obviously, the final go-ahead and approval will be given by the Prime Minister on this. What will happen? I mean, it's really difficult to turn around and say that this is exactly what's going to happen. All I think I would say is that the military option is being considered. Now, whether it is exercised and what form it is exercised, this is something that we will come to see in the coming days. But certainly, in response to the Pulwama attack, that we could resort to the use of military force is something that is clearly on the table.
Right. I would also want to understand from you, Mr. Hooda, the reconstitution of the National Security Advisory Board. Now, what does that mean? Does it mean that the board members who were there as part of the NSAB, they didn't do their job well enough, so the union government thought of reconstituting it? Or does it give any other message? What does one absorb it as? If the NSAB is reconstituted and most of the members have been reconstituted, so what does it mean? That the government was not happy with its recommendations, with the policy solutions it was offering on defense and security? What does that mean?
No, I don't think you could say that they weren't doing their job. Well, see, you're faced with a new challenge. And when you're faced with a new challenge, maybe it's time to bring in the kind of expertise that you need to be able to deal with this challenge. So the NSAB typically has had military officers, but now we find all three services being inducted into that. So fresh blood at any stage is a good idea. These people are also more current, I would say. These are newly retired military officers, newly retired diplomats, and so would be more up to date with the current situation and what's happening. So I think it's a step in the right direction. The NSAB could also well be tasked to craft sort of a long-term policy, a long-term plan on what we need to do with Pakistan, because we have seen that despite the military force being used in 2016-19, we are still continuing with these terror strikes. So perhaps also one of the tasks of the NSAB could be to look at a more comprehensive strategy and a more comprehensive plan.
So you are saying that could be a long-term policy decision on how they want to tackle Pakistan and their approach towards Pakistan. But of course, what do you preempt? Is it going to be like a full throttle military strike we are looking at, or we are looking at some kind of a limited strike which has a limited impact? Would it be I mean, difficult to guess this at the moment because given the gravity of the situation, the number of innocent lives lost, what do you think that the government would really go in for?
See, I don't contemplate, and you could always be proved wrong, but I don't contemplate that the Indian government is going to consider a full-scale war against Pakistan, and that would be their sort of initial military option. I'm sure they're looking at a more sort of kinetic, limited operation. And yes, of course, things can escalate, and so they have to also plan for that escalation. We could definitely expect some retaliation from Pakistan, and how that is to be tackled. I don't contemplate. I don't see how it is sort of in our national interest to start engaging in a full scale war with Pakistan.
Right. So you are saying that the full scale war with Pakistan will not help India's cause. But I mean, whatever has happened, like in 2019, also we saw a similar kind of a strike. And after that, the retaliation from Pakistan has not stopped. And now with the way Pakistan is retaliating, and they are saying they are asking for credible evidence, they are asking for a neutral investigation. This is what they have asked for. So, do you think that India is right when they have named Pakistan, they have called out names of Pakistan? There is a narrative which is being built against Pakistan, but there is no credible evidence in sight. 22nd April was the day when this incident happened in Pahalgam. Until date, the only thing we read is that NIA is now investigating. We do not know how many people have been nabbed. Who are the people exactly behind it? Is it Pakistan or is it somebody else? We do not know that, except that the fingers are being pointed at Pakistan right now.
Look, it's difficult to say that every time you will get some credible evidence. I mean, do we expect some terrorist from Pahalgam, when he's carrying out the attack, is going to pick up a phone and then dial the number of the ISI officer in Rawalpindi? That's not going to happen. TRF has claimed responsibility. This organization has been around for some time, and we know that it is a front for the Lashkar-e-Taiba. I don't see also, honestly, that such an operation would be carried out by some local group. I mean, the manner in which it has been done, the number of casualties that have occurred, this is not something that some local group can decide, knowing fully well that this is going to lead to, this is a major escalation which could lead to problems between India and Pakistan. So obviously, I don't see a hand of some local group here. It has to be something that's planned at a much higher level.
No, but many people said that they've taken help from the homegrown militants, and probably they've been used in this. Without their information, they couldn't have carried out an attack like this.
Yeah, so that is true. I mean, there are overground workers. There is some level of local support which helps terrorists who are infiltrating from Pakistan to come in and to survive for so long. But as I said, uh, does that mean that this is something that is being planned at a local level? And to me, it does not just appear to be so. That such a major decision, such a major provocation, the fact that what has happened is also going to very badly hit the local communities which are dependent on tourism. These are not
Absolutely.
decisions that few homegrown terrorists are going to take. This is something obviously that has a lot of planning has gone into it. I'm sure all the implications of what will happen have been studied, and after that, it has been done.
But General Hooda, you see this as a deliberate provocation on the part of Pakistan? that deliberately they've done this to provoke India?
Absolutely. No, I have no doubt in my mind that this is a very deliberate provocation, done for many reasons. One, to stave off pressure that the Pakistan army was under, facing pressure not only from militants but also uh, facing pressure from the local population. Uh, on the fact that Pakistan army was behind the overthrow of Imran Khan, getting this new government in place. Uh, the fact that they were facing enormous pressure in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa with the kind of attacks that were happening, the pressure that was coming from China, that you are unable to protect our citizens, you are unable to protect projects of the China-Pakistan economic corridor. So clearly, and the manner in which it has been done by singling out a specific community,
Hmm.
to create sort of divides. So as I said, the implications are so much that I can't see some local terrorist, thinking that let's do this and this is something that they have planned.
But there are several questions also being raised since the time Pahalgam attack has taken place. And there are questions and very serious questions on the security lapse and the intelligence failure. Do you see a very, very serious security lapse and intelligence failure, given the fact that there were huge claims made by the government of normalcy being there in Kashmir? The guards, it seems, were let down, and tourists were made sitting ducks in an area like this, which should have been well guarded.
Look, clearly, the fact that such a major incident has happened and the fact that there were no security forces present in that area does point to a lapse. And I think the government has admitted, I think in the all-party meeting, that yes,
Yes.
there has been a security lapse and there has been an intelligence failure. There is absolutely no doubt about it. On the issue of normalcy, I think we need to be a little cautious. Why I'm saying it is, horrific as this attack is, does it mean suddenly that uh, all the work that had been done to bring violence levels down has now sort of become zero, or that suddenly now we will see massive terrorist violence restarting in the Kashmir Valley? That is not going to happen. Uh, it's the terrorists who want to spread this narrative that, look, things are not normal, things are bad. And in the short run, it's had its impact when we see tourists are leaving the place, when we see fresh, tourist arrivals are not there, cancellations are happening. Uh, but we should not overstress this fact that there is no normalcy, because I think in some ways, this will then play into the terrorist narratives that, look, there is no normalcy. So I think we need to be a little cautious about how much we talk about this.
No, but no, we do have to exercise caution. But the point is that how do you raise these tough questions at this point of time? Because when you raise and it's just not about a particular platform, but there are many news channels, there are various platforms which are raising questions to the government. But then when you raise questions related to security, then it is considered as something anti-national. Either the channels are blocked, either the FIRs are lodged. Is that the approach which the government should be taking, General Hooda, according to you?
No, no. So I don't agree with that approach. I think all governments should be transparent. All governments should be open to questions, and where lapses occur, I think it's good to accept it, because it's only once the acceptance is there that you then start to find solutions around it. So I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that governments which are elected by us should be held accountable for what actions happen.
No, but when the government itself has acknowledged that yes, there has been a serious security lapse, they do admit that there has been a failure. So how will the accountability be set in? 26 lives is not a small number. Innocent lives massacred, and how will the accountability be held? Will the heads roll? Where does the buck stop, according to you?
Look, these are questions for the government to answer. We know practically what the answers are. People must be held accountable for what has happened. At what level should it stop depends on where exactly, who had the information, who was in charge of the security here, what did he do about it, was there prior information, was it ignored? I mean, I am not completely sort of tuned into this, so difficult for me to say that where is it and exactly who should be held accountable, where should it stop.
No, but prima facie, what does it look like? I mean, we've read reports that the enforcement agencies, the security agencies were not informed, but the area was open for the tour operators just to show that everything is normal. It's becoming a tourist hub, and that area was open without even checking whether there was enough security layer there or not. And this is what exactly the terrorists or the attackers capitalized on.
No, no. So I'm saying that I am not denying that, and I've said that there have been lapses, there have been things that should have been done. If the reports we are getting is that suddenly this area was opened up, nobody was informed and things like that. But I mean, there are local security force people, and they would be seeing thousands and thousands of tourists are moving around in this area. So certainly there have been without a security lapse. I mean, these kind of major incidents don't happen.
General Hooda, another thing on which I really want to ask you is that, various media channels and various news channels have started showing visuals of, the army build-up. Sometimes they'll show the Navy ships. Sometimes there are visuals of, today only in the morning I saw that Pakistan posts have been vacated. They're removing the flags. Should this kind of a coverage be allowed at this point of time? Because even media is confused how to report on this. Because if you do, I mean, if you escalate the matter, then it becomes a national issue, and it's a security issue, and people say that you are transgressing a line. How does the media report this issue? And where are the lines which should be drawn really?
Look, my own experience is that the line is normally drawn at showing live operation, something that's happening on the ground, and those operations are being shown. What happens then is, you have some people like handlers, etc., sitting back, watching the TV, seeing live operations, seeing where the forces are moving, and that sort of gives away some of your plans. And those are things, obviously, on that issue of, look, we are seeing that the TV is sensationalizing a lot of things. Uh, is it for me to say, or is it for the media channels to see uh, whether grabbing eyeballs is more important than reporting things in a more sort of neutral and impartial manner? Uh, these are issues, I think, where you are more experienced on this than I am, honestly.
But General Huda, I mean, do we do report, but many times, deliberately or unknowingly, many times, the lines are transgressed, and that becomes a grave concern for the security forces. It becomes a concern for the government as well to handle. So, and there are certain guidelines which are already in place since the time 2611 happened. There are certain guidelines, and as you said, the live coverage should not be encouraged. But at this point of time, what do you think? Should the channels be doing? Should they be raising questions aggressively to the government, or should they sort of let the government do what they want at this point of time? Because the first and the foremost, I mean, the priority should be how to give it back to the enemy country.
Look, I think the priority right now, Nilu, and I have no doubt in my mind, is that we need to all come together. It's the government which is going to decide what action is to be taken, and I think we should let them do it. You have good advisors. There are military chiefs who are very experienced. So I think we should, at this stage, let the government take what action is appropriate, uh, because we are faced with this very, very horrific tragedy, and I think there's also there is also one more thing. The government also needs to sort of isolate itself from all this chatter on social media. So sometimes, decisions are driven not so much by long-term thinking, but by, look,
No, but when you
let's
say chatter
satisfy.
on the social media, General Hooda, when you say chatter on the social media, many times it is BJP's own right-wing troll army, which starts raising the pitch, and then people start reacting. So unless the ruling party refrains from doing all this, now say for example, I'll give you a small example of Lok Sabha MP Nishikant Dubey. He's a BJP MP, supposed to be a responsible MP who's sworn in by the constitution, and then he says at the end of 2025 Pakistan will cease to exist on this earth. This is the kind of comment
No,
he makes.
look, I really don't want to get into sort of political discussions or political leaders and what they said. My point is this: sometimes we tend to get swayed by what's happening on the social media. That need to instantly gratify the sentiment which is appearing on social media. While taking decisions like this and what we are going to do, how we are going to respond to Pakistan, my advice only would be, need to insulate yourself from this. Look at things from a very balanced strategic perspective, and then take action. So that was the point I was trying to make. Now, who is making more noise on the social media? Who's making less noise? Uh, really, really, it's something that we've seen happening.
So, what is your, what would you really say towards the end? Because there are geopolitical ramifications also, if at all we go in for a limited strike. Obviously, that front with Pakistan gets reopened, which was closed all this while. And we had suspended all sorts of talks. Then we also have a challenge as far as China is concerned. We have a challenge as far as Bangladesh is concerned. So, has Pahalgam now become the turning point where many fronts have now been opened before the Modi government? And it is difficult to tackle all of this.
Well, I won't say difficult, but certainly, I mean, the kind of challenges that we are seeing, for example, in Bangladesh was not something that has existed. What to do with this major terror incident that has happened? How do we respond to Pakistan? Is an enormous challenge. The fact that this has happened at a time when the government was saying that everything is fine will obviously put enormous pressure on the government to react. And then you have a hostile neighbor on the north, which fortunately now things are a little better on the line of actual control. So these are challenges before the government. Will these other challenges sort of restrict India's options against Pakistan? At this stage, I don't think so. While these challenges exist, I don't think they will inhibit, for example, to India from saying that because we have all these challenges, let's not think of a military option. I don't think that will happen.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for joining on the Federal. Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Bye, sir.
Take care then. Bye-bye.